My guests today are Mason Grant of the Black Voters Collaborative and Keegan King of the All Pueblo Council of Governors Redistricting Committee. Thank you both so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Gwyneth.
Keegan, I'm going to start with you. The New Mexico's 19 Pueblos plus the Jicarilla Apache Nation agreed on the maps that you submitted to the committee. But the Navajo Nation submitted some different plans. The Navajo Nation includes slightly more people. How are some of the plans different? How are these different?
Yeah, thanks, Gwyneth. The plans from the Navajo Nation and from the Pueblos and Jicarilla Apache Nation are remarkably similar. Both coalitions put forth House and Senate plans, and they are very similar. On the Senate side, the Navajo Nation, all of the Pueblos, the Apache nations were able to come to some agreement around a Senate plan. On the House side, those discussions are still ongoing, but it's a pretty historic occasion when you consider that 23 tribal nations have weighed in and are supporting a plan that redraws boundaries for these political districts, redraws them in a way that aligns with the values of our tribal communities. So while we didn't get the House map agreed to yet, and there isn't consensus yet, we do have a pretty good track record so far with the Senate plan.
And help me understand how different this process is from the way it was 10 years ago.
Well, my understanding is from 2011, the process was nearly entirely done in the legislative session, in a special session. And it was done with legislators and with research and polling, with a lot less public input. And so this time around, we've had a number of CRC meetings across the state. We've had tribal communities weigh in, tribal leaders working with indigenous communities, community groups working across the state. And so it's really allowed the public to weigh in a way that they haven't been able to before. And they've been able to do that with Districtr, which is the new online platform that allows anybody to draw maps, even from their phone.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, Mason, you are doing this for the first time ever, and your group submitted some maps for the House districts in particular. How has this experience been for you and the members of all the different groups that come together for the collaborative?
Gwyneth, this experience has been really eye-opening and challenging because the process before was typically behind closed doors. And because of the nature of New Mexico's tricultural narrative that historically excludes African-American populations, it was kind of difficult for us to figure out exactly where to start. Luckily, we knew some great organizations that were already doing the work that were able to kind of fill us in about how redistricting is going to work this time around for the Citizens Redistricting Committee. And then the other part of it was getting the African-American communities to be involved. Typically, we're not that involved in matters when it comes to government, when it comes to legislature, because a lot of the conversations that are being had there don't normally include us. So it was really important for us to make sure that we did have a voice in this process to let them know that we want to be included, especially on something as important as redistricting that can affect how our residents are represented for the next 10 years.
One of the terms we're hearing a lot about during this process is communities of interest. And in some ways, it's easy to see that when you're talking about a Pueblo. It's got a very, discrete border, and you've got a majority of people there of a same group speak historically the same language, have a shared history and culture. But for New Mexico's Black and African American residents, this is a little bit different. What does that look like for you?
So what it looks like is, because the African American community in New Mexico isn't tied to any one geographic location, it's much more difficult to identify exactly where those people are and what kind of power they have in a particular district. If you go to New York, you know that you're going to find African Americans in the Bronx. If you go to Chicago, you know you're going to find African Americans on the South Side. But here in New Mexico, because we do have smaller populations that reside in just a few areas of the state, there isn't really an opportunity for large impacts, but on those areas where they do reside, we can make sure that they're represented equally and accurately. And that was kind of our biggest challenge.
You said, that you historically haven't been a part of this, you historically haven't been, consulted, and this is your first time digging into it. Something that only comes around every 10 years is pretty hard to track, but how did you think the committee took your suggestions? Do you feel like they took your input into consideration? Did they include it?
Absolutely. So I think the committee, first of all, was an amazing group of people that were all really dedicated to making sure that all ethnicities, all marginalized groups were represented fairly. The Chief Justice, Edward Chavez, and I had some conversations, and he was very involved in making sure that we were submitting maps the right way, that we were creating comments and proposals the right way. And, we got some great recommendations on exactly where we can focus our efforts so they have the biggest impact. So because we're one of a few states that have an independent citizen redistricting committee, this was really a great opportunity for us to make sure that the African-American community did get involved. And I think the Citizens Redistricting Committee members did an excellent job of hearing our requests. And when we were able to work with some other organizations as well, they were constantly coming back to us based off the proposals that we made and asking if this was in line with some of our recommendations. And it was really bigger than just the recommendations that were coming from the African-American community. And it was kind of like the bigger New Mexico ethnic community coming together to see this through.
Keegan, I talked to the vice chair of the Republican Party recently, and I asked him, there's a bunch of these groups we think of as constituent parts of the Democratic Party who have been giving information to the committee and testifying, and they've been submitting maps. I said, I'm looking for the Republican groups that are doing the same. And he said they don't exist. Now, the committee said that they have received a lot of input from people who identify as Republican. And the Republican Party has been quite vocal. Chairman Pierce called one of the congressional maps the eGulf Movida. And he thinks, that some of the maps that have been put forward are designed to ensure a Democratic majority from here to eternity. Now, it is true, though, that a lot of these groups do represent voters who lean Democrat. Is this, a strategic move on your part?
It's interesting. I think a lot of the voices that have been heard at the CRC meetings are coming from BIPOC communities and BIPOC-led organizations. And those organizations are going out there and talking about what is a community of interest? What does my community look like? And what are the other communities? What are my neighbors looking like? How do we naturally organize ourselves? And so a lot of times you were seeing indigenous communities talking about how they were standing side by side through generations of history with land grant Hispanic communities, that they don't share the same language or the same history, but they share a very common lived experience, common work, the use of acequias together, the use of the same land for similar uses. And so, I think we were identifying those communities of interest and then drawing maps that reflect that. And I think to the Republican Party chair's point, I think, a lot of times it came down to, who is coming out to the meetings and what are some of the districts that they're talking about? What are the places that they want to protect? For the tribe's community of interest, not only was language and lifestyle and history and the reservation boundaries, but in some cases it was sacred sites. So for a lot of the pueblos, they were talking about Chaco Canyon as a community of interest. They were talking about sacred sites and making maps that reflected that. And I think that may be one of the reasons why people have been talking about, well, this is more liberal versus conservative, but it really isn't. I think it reflects the community coming out to speak.
Keegan, we've just got a few minutes left here, a few seconds left. The legislature is going to meet in December to take up these proposals. They get the final say. Are your groups going to be there to try and influence their decisions? Keegan?
Yes, absolutely. Tribal leadership, indigenous communities will be there at the special session to continue to advocate for fair maps in our state to ensure that they reflect the wishes of indigenous communities and that our communities can elect the candidate of their choice.
Mason, are you going to mobilize your folks to get involved in the kind of messy process as it goes through the legislature?
Absolutely. I echo Keegan. We will definitely be there to see this through in the legislature and hopefully have an interaction with this process for, the next 10 years.
And as we've said, that kind of interaction is going to be different from what we have seen in the past. Thank you both for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.